Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. On today's tutorial, I will demonstrate how to cut and sew this lovely cut bustier dress with a keyhole yoke design detail. Hi, my name is Ayo and welcome to 011 Clothing Tutorials. On this channel, I upload DIYs, pattern drafting and sewing tutorials. If you haven't subscribed yet, kindly do so. And do not forget to turn on the notification bell so that you'll be notified whenever I upload a new video. So now, let's get right into the tutorial. Thank you. I'll be working with the following items: African print fabric, also known as Ankara, Ridgeline bony, lining fabric, tape measure, pins, a pair of scissors, some interfacing, wadding, also known as fusible flace. So these are the parts needed to make the front bodice of the dress. In a previous tutorial, I demonstrate how I drafted, cut and sew the back of this dress. In this tutorial, I'll be focusing on how to cut and sew the front part of the dress. The link on how I drafted the curved bustier pattern will be above and in the description box below. I will now go ahead to cut out all these pattern pieces on my main fabric and lining fabric. So now I've gone ahead to cut out the pattern pieces on the main exterior fabric and the lining fabric. I use half an inch seam allowance all through for all the patterns except for the side seams where I use 1 inch side seam allowance. These two cut pattern pieces, I use half an inch seam allowance all through also, and I've gone ahead to notch the sides that will be sewn together so as to avoid confusion later on. For each cut piece, I cut 2 pieces on the main exterior fabric, which have been interfaced, 2 pieces on the lining fabric, and 2 pieces on the wadding. The wadding is also known as fusible flace. What I'll do now is to go ahead and fuse the wadding to the main exterior pieces using my pressing iron. So now that has been done, as you can see. So I'll pick 1 piece each from the 2 different cut pieces, and I will now go ahead to pin the 2 cut pieces together like this. And remember that I've already notched the sides that will be joined together. After pinning, I will take the 2 pieces to my sewing machine and I will stitch using half an inch sewing allowance. I will do the same thing for the remaining 2 pieces and also the lining pieces as well. So now the stitching has been done, as you can see, for both the main exterior pieces and the lining pieces. These two pieces are the lower part of the curved bustier. I will separate the lining pieces from the main exterior pieces. So I will go ahead to pin the pieces together like this. Right sides will be together. So I'll go ahead to pin the pieces together like this. After pinning, I will take it to my sewing machine and I will stitch in place using 1/2 inch sewing allowance. Note that I interface the lining pieces for the lower part of the curved bustier pieces. So now the stitching has been done, as you can see. I will now go ahead to fix the cup pieces to the lower part of the curved bustier, around the curved section. So I will pin the cup to the curved area like this, making sure that the seam lines match up. So I will trim the excess around the seam line so as to reduce the bulk. I will pin in place like this. After pinning, I will take it to my sewing machine and I will stitch using 1/2 inch sewing allowance. I will do the same thing for the other cup pieces as well. So I've stitched the cups in place, as you can see, and I've also knocked the seam allowances all around the cups so that the cup can relax and lie flat. These are the front yoke pieces. I cut 4 pieces on the main exterior fabric and I interfaced just 2 pieces. I cut 4 pieces because I'll be lining the yoke with the same exterior fabric. So I'll pick one interface lining pieces and another exterior piece that I did not interface. I'll place them right sides together and I will stitch on my sewing machine using 1/2 inch sewing allowance. I will leave the armhole area and the shoulders unstitched for now. So now the stitching has been done. The 2 upper pieces are for the back, which I'm going to ignore as the focus of this tutorial is how to sew the front part of the dress. This is the curved bustier and I'm going to fix the 2 front yoke pieces to the upper part like this. So I will pin the 2 yoke pieces to the curved bustier like this, right sides to right side. You can't just pin anyhow. You have to take note of where the yoke starts from and ends on the pattern. This will guide you while pinning the yoke to the curved bustier. After pinning, I will take it to my sewing machine and I will stitch in place using 1/2 inch sewing allowance. So now the stitching has been done, as you can see. These are the front and back line. This I will go ahead to sew wriggling boning to the wrong side of the lining pieces, and I will avoid the upper and lower seam lines by half an inch. That is, the wriggling boning will be shorter than the lining pieces. So I will now go ahead to pin the lining piece with wriggling boning to the main fabric like this. Right sides will be together. After pinning, I will stitch using half an inch sewing allowance. So now the stitching has been done. I knock the seam allowances, and I also trim the seam bulk to about half, which is about 1/4 of an inch. I now understick the seam allowance to the lining fabric. Since our focus is the front of the dress, so I'll go ahead to cut out the front skirt pattern. I will also close the waist dart. After closing, I will now go ahead to draw the slash lines by dividing the skirt pattern into 3 equal sections. To cut out the skirt, I will go ahead to fold my fabric on bias like this. I will now slash the front basic skirt pattern. But I won't cut all the way through. I'll paint the center front of the skirt to the side of the fabric that is on fold. I will now spread the remaining pieces using about 8 inches for the spread. After spreading the pieces, I will pin the pieces in place. I will use half an inch seam allowance at the upper part and 1 inch for the side seam allowance. I will now go ahead to cut out the skirt, the front skirt like this. I will use these 2 fabric pieces to cut out the 4 side pocket pieces for the dress. So I will fold the fabric into two like this, making it a total of 4 layers of fabric. I will draw my starting line horizontally like this using my ruler. And from this starting line, I will measure and mark 13 inches, which will be the length of the pocket. And I will square out a line horizontally across like this using my ruler. I will now go ahead to measure the width I want for the pocket at the upper starting line and at the lower line. I will use 7 inches for the pocket width. I will connect these 2 points together vertically like this with a straight line. For the width of the pocket mouth, the pocket opening, I will measure and mark 6.5 inches from the starting line downwards like this. From this corner, I will measure and mark 1.5 inches. From this corner, I will also measure and mark 1.5 inches. From this end, I will measure and mark 1 inch. Now, using my free hand, I will draw the outline of the side pocket like this. And the 1.5 inches and the 1 inch that I mark at the corners will be used as a guide to draw the curve or the outline for the side pocket. I will now add 1 inch seam allowance to the side up to the point where the 6.5 inches pocket opening ends, like this. I will now go ahead to cut out the 4 side pocket pieces. Remember that our fabric was folded into 4, so we should have 4 pocket pieces after cutting it out. These are the front and the back skirt pieces. I will now separate the lining from the main exterior pieces. I will now go ahead to pin the 4 pocket pieces to the side seams of the front and back skirt pieces, half an inch away from the waistline. After pinning, I will take it to my sewing machine and I will stitch in place using 1 inch seam allowance. Remember that we used 1 inch for the side seam allowance. So the stitching has been done, as you can see. I will now go ahead to pin the waistline of the skirt to the waistline of the bodice like this. I will pin fabric to fabric and lining to lining. After pinning, I will take it to my sewing machine and I will stitch in place using half an inch sewing allowance for both the main exterior fabric and the lining fabric. So now the stitching has been done. I've joined the upper bodice to the skirt part of the dress. This is the back of the dress, which I've already sewn. As you can see, I have a separate tutorial for the back of the dress, and its link will be above and in the description box below. I will now place the front piece on the top back piece like this. Right sides are together. I will open up the shoulders and I will pin in place, making sure that the seam lines match up. And I will stitch on my sewing machine using 1/2 inch sewing allowance. So the stitching has been done. As you can see, I've joined the shoulder lines of the dress together, the shoulder lines of the front and back of the dress together. I've also joined the side seams together, and this is the pocket, the side pocket, and this is the pocket for the other side. This is the sleeve that I will fix with the armholes of the dress. I have a separate tutorial on how to make this sleeve on my channel. The link for this tutorial will be above and in the description box below if you're interested in making this type of sleeve with an inbuilt bow detail. I will now go ahead to fix the sleeve to the armhole of the dress. So now that has been done, as you can see, and this is what the sleeve looks like. So that's it, guys. We are done. If you find this video helpful, do not forget to give it a thumbs up, drop a comment down below, share this video with your friends who are interested in sewing, and do not forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel if you haven't done so already. See you in my next tutorial. Bye, and thank you so much for watching.